Just get this ready. Okay, just waiting for anyone to show up. I have the movie ready. Just waiting to see if anyone pop. Can anyone hear this? Right. Let's see. Sorry, just trying to get things set up. I see only one person's in the thing so far. Oop. Okay. I think that might be an idea. Let me just. Okay. Okay. I don't know if y'all could see that. Actually, let me take that out too. Can you see that? Okay. All right. Let's see. I see only one person is viewing. Don't see anyone in the chat yet. Just no, better do. Okay. Get that one there. I'm just waiting to see if anyone shows up. That's all before we get started. But hope everyone is having a good day so far. It's just another hot Monday this time of year. Just, waiting for more people to show up. Let's see. Okay, I was just testing the chat to see if it works. So looks like I have 2 people on the thing, I think. Just waiting to see if everyone. I'm guessing everyone's getting, because I already have the disc in my player, so it's ready to go. So just, I guess, waiting if anyone's ready before we begin. Let's hold on a second. Make sure this thing is charged. Okay, I guess it's got a full battery, so it should be good. Okay, y'all can see that. Okay. So hey, Anthony, nice to be here. Whoop, gotta move that down so y'all can see the timer. All right, so we have one person in the chat, so I guess we could go and get started. So yeah, welcome to the very first watch along on my new channel. So if y'all watch YMS, you kind of know what this is like. Basically, we watch movies and shows together, but I'm not showing y'all the footage or playing audio because of copyright. So instead, y'all have to have your own copy of the film or show to watch, whether you have it physical or whether you have whatever streaming platform you're using. And today, we're going to start things off with our beginning of journey through the Disney animated classics, being, of course, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs from 1937. So I just figured it'd be a good one to start on for this stream. And I already have my disc in the player, but if y'all don't have the physical copy, be it Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, Laserdisc, whatever it is, whatever format you use, you will just have to use Disney Plus, I guess, if you'll have that. So yeah, I have the timer right here. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do that whole thing that YMS does, where you see the timer on the screen. Like I said, I'm still new at this, so be right. So I'm sorry, but yeah, if everyone's ready. I have the disc in, so um, well, hold on a second. Let me make sure it's um. So yeah, I'm gonna go and get started. If y'all have it ready, so in three, two, one, go. So just gonna ready. Uh, okay. I'm assuming mine's close enough. So yeah. By the way, yes, the my TV is right over there because here we just well, I don't know if you can. That's really bad, but it's right there. So yeah. I mean, I was like I said before, my Blu-ray stream on my other channel. I was hoping to do this at my desk, but like I said, that corner of my room has really bad service. I don't know why, so I have to do it right here on my bed. But yeah, it's crazy to think this movie is as old as it is. I mean, 1937. I mean, and I guess it's crazy to imagine that this was the film that people assumed was going to be Disney's folly, as it was going to be the film they thought was going to fail, because the idea of making a traditional hand-drawn animated film, feature-length film, seemed ludicrous at the time. But yeah, of course, got to open with the book like you always do. Okay, I guess one person left. Um, I guess it is worth mentioning too that Snow White was not the first animated feature-length film ever made. That's something a lot of people misconception. I mean, really, that I mean, technically, the first animated film that we know of that was made was El Apostle from 1917, 20 years before this movie, but that film is considered lost. Later on, you get The Avengers Prince Aquaman in 1926, which is the oldest surviving animated film. And even the year that this film came out, you had films like The Seven Ravens and The Tale of the Fox. So there were a few animated films that came out prior to this film. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty impressive effect right here with the magic mirror, how they did that back then. Okay, so with three people in the chat now. See, I always heard that she was named Snow White because she was born in the snow. At least that's what recent remake said. At least from what I told. I don't know. I didn't see the remake. I heard it's not good, which isn't surprising. All right, sorry, I was just checking something. Um, Sorry, I'm just kind of watching at the moment. Like I said, this is only the first watch on, so if I'm not saying a whole lot, I apologize. Just trying to, just honestly, right now I'm just kind of looking to see if anyone's else is chatting. But so far, I only see one person. But yeah, it's only the first watch, and you can't expect a whole lot of people at first. Just gotta try to build this channel up as much as I can. And in comes the prince, the creepy stalker who just, again, according to Rachel Zegler. Even though I'm pretty sure, I think there was like a novelization of this movie that states that Snow and the prince knew each other since they were kids. I think I don't remember where I heard that, but if that is the case, really that has a whole new context to this scene. How really Snow, she's not running away because, oh, he's a creepy stranger. It's because, well, I guess this was back in a time when a young woman and a young man weren't allowed to be alone together, especially if they're betrothed. Well, I don't know if they are in this context or not. That, and also she's wearing rags, so she's just a little embarrassed that she's not properly dressed. So, also excuse me, I have my lunch right here. So it's 11:12 where I'm at. So it's a little early, but I think I can fix something to eat while I'm watching this. This is a leftover burger from the other night. I take it. Well, yeah, yeah. That's when I used to have breakfast. Quite the drama queen, literally. Actually, that's a bit of understatement. Like seriously, you're jealous over your 14-year-old stepdaughter because she's more beautiful than you. I don't know, maybe because it's a sign of your aging. Just saying. I don't know. That's a little mean. I'm gonna be honest here. There's something about classic Disney and just classic animation. The way they animate animals, especially like baby animals or baby birds, they make them really cute. Anyone else get that? Yeah, I'm aware that originally the prince in this movie was meant to do a lot more, but they couldn't do it because of budgetary reasons, and they would later use that stuff in Sleeping Beauty. Honestly, can't really blame the huntsman for his deed. I mean, how could you have the nerve to harm someone this sweet and innocent? I don't know if anyone here has ever watched Once Upon a Time, but I remember that show. I mean, it's been a while since I watched the show, but I remember there that I liked what they did with the huntsman in that show. So who knows? Maybe I could do a watch along of that show in the future. We'll see. Again, this is just to see how much you'll like this. I haven't seen the remake, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that they nerfed this part of the movie where Snow is just running around in the dark forest, like they do a lot of things. Yeah, that's what I heard. Is that Philip in Sleeping was originally meant to be for the prince in this film. Like you look at the rabbits. Even as a kid, I always thought the rabbits, the way they animate them, they look really adorable. But then again, I've always loved rabbits, so I even have a pet rabbit. So what can I say? Which again, this kind of highlights why making this into live action, at least this version of the story, just feels pointless. I mean, because from the clips I have seen with the animals, they just look awful in CGI, or maybe it's just the quality of CGI. I don't know. Like I said, I still haven't seen the film, so yes, I do still have my snake. She's actually next. She's in her cave right now. She's an old girl though, so but they can still have my rabbits. So who knows how much longer I'll have them. Okay, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to believe that raccoon in that scene was on top of that turtle the whole time? I mean, I know reptiles can hold their breath for a while, but that's that's just something funny to point out. I will say the animals in this movie compared to how they will look later on in Bambi, I feel like they in Bambi they look slightly more realistic. Here they're kind of borderline between realism and cartoonish, I guess. But again, this I don't know. Again, this was their first feature length film, and I guess they were still used to that silly symphony style, I suppose, before they would later on go for more realistic takes. I guess. Um. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. The idea is we're going to do watch-alongs of from Snow White all the way to Moana 2. That's kind of the idea, leading up to Zootopia 2 that's coming out this November. But I won't be doing just that. My plan for today is to, if y'all saw what I post on that video, I do have a couple of things planned for today for watch along. So we'll do the next Disney film whenever. I mean, I have a lot of free time this week for some reason. My job is not giving me a lot of hours. So I figured with the amount of free time I have this week, I'll try to get as many watch alongs out as I can. So we're gonna be doing after Snow White. We're gonna do a different watch along, and then we'll do the next Disney film probably tomorrow. So that's the idea. So yeah, yeah, break and entering. That's the right thing to do. I know it's not really. I mean, the animal. She just needs a place to stay. I mean, apparently Matt Walsh thinks otherwise. If y'all know who that is, he did a really insane video about why the Disney villains are right. It's a lot of insane jargon. Yeah, that's not concerning the slightest. Why is there a pickaxe on the table like that? Excuse me. See, that's the thing I think a lot of people overlook with Snow in this film is how she's not some damsel in distress. I mean, the fact that she just well, first of all, she's under the impression it is children and they're orphans, and it just shows how really sweet and compassionate of a person she is. So, especially for someone as young as her, because like, isn't she meant to be like what 14, 15 in this film? So, just saying. I think my mom used to sing this song a bit when she worked when we were kids. I think. I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. So magic? I don't know. How do you explain how the animals can understand her? I guess Disney logic, animation logic. Who knows? Yeah, you're gonna regret that. Do you guys remember those Disney sing-alongs on video cassettes when we were kids? Those who grew up in the '90s. Funny enough, I think I saw those before I saw most of the Disney classics, so I was introduced to many of these songs through those videos. So, I mean, I think I saw Snow White before I saw the VH versions of their songs, but just thought it was something interesting to point out. Yeah, I think I had most of them as a kid. Honestly, yeah, I have the deer do all the heavy lifting of the clothing. By the way, fans want wait, yeah, that'd be interesting if Snow White and Bambi took place in the same universe. I don't think they did, but you never know. By the way, if anyone's wondering why I'm wearing a tank top, I meant to change my shirt before I started the stream, but I was outside doing some yard work, and it's like bloody hot outside right now. So yeah, thought I'd come in and cool off and do this. Was that an aluminum ruby? Like what was that he was holding? I live in Georgia, Jasper, Georgia, more specifically. So, but yeah, it's like 90 something. Well, it's like in the high 80s or low 90s right now, but it's pretty hot right now. So, and Dopey's not poking his eyes out with those diamonds. I mean, okay. And of course, we get this classic song. Um, yeah, I do live in the same city as Gia and I think he lives in Atlanta though, so we've never met. So I'll be completely honest. For some reason, as a kid, whenever I helmed the sun, I always wanted to say it's off to work we go without realizing. I don't know how I didn't realize that, but it's when they're going from work to home, it's home to work, home from work we go. So I don't know how I didn't realize that as a kid, but I don't know, but pretty catchy tune. Yeah. Beautiful water effects too, especially for 1937. So I always felt bad for this damn turtle when I was a kid. Like I mean, give him credit. Like he's persevering. Yeah. Uh, California, huh? Well, I can only imagine how hot it is over there right this time of year. Honestly, I haven't been to California since I was 6, I think. She has to sleep on 3 beds because they're so tiny. And you don't burn your tail feathers doing that? Okay. And the turtle's still going up the stairs. You mentioned earlier that it's surprised the animals understand it. Honestly, I'm more surprised these animals are getting along with each other, given that well, if you ever watched Casual Geographic, his channel, and you saw the video about it, he talks about how not most herbivores aren't full herbivores, if you know what I mean. Just saying. Funny. Is that a foreshadow for their next movie? That Jiminy Cricket part? Ooh, all right. You could say that. Would you call it an Easter egg? Because the movie isn't out. Pinocchio wouldn't come out for another 3 years. More like, how would you call that? It's kind of like how in the opening Pinocchio, when you see Jiminy singing his song, you see the books labeled Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan, sort of like a little foreshadowing of upcoming films Walt would eventually do. Looking cranny. Great. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's true. From what I understand, Peter Pan and Alice were originally meant to come out in the 40s, but then, of course, the war broke out, and the 40s was when they ended up releasing a lot of those package films, which we will be getting to those. We're basically doing all these in order from by release date. So, but like I said, I'm only doing Snow White today, and then we'll be doing a couple other things. If you've seen the video where I advertise my first set of watch loans, you know what that is. You think Bashful was being kind of a douche towards Sneezy there? Because like he knows Sneezy is allergic to everything. And yeah, he did that anyway. It's like just saying like that. You think that was intentional, or I don't know? Ah, darn it! Oh dear, hold on a second. Damn ads. Sorry, my tablet had to, you know, um, yeah. Hold on a second. Sorry, the my. How do you have ads on something that's just a stopwatch thing? That's ridiculous. Sorry about that. Okay, we're at. Uh, okay. 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 Sorry about that. Uh. Well, Song of the South isn't officially part of the Disney animation lineup. It's just another side thing to do. Maybe I'll do that in the future. Who knows? But we're not doing it for this marathon. That'll have to be saved for another time. Anyway, okay, let's do this again. We're at well, the clock says 30 minutes. So um, okay, so okay, we're gonna do this again. Okay, okay, so three. Sorry about this, folks. Three, two, one, go. Yeah, sorry about that. See, this is why I need to figure out how to do that time thing down here on my screen, so I don't have to do this. Because I get the feeling that's gonna be a recurring problem. So, which is gonna be a real concern if I decide to do watch-alongs for things that are on like YouTube or Amazon Prime, because there's always those ad breaks that will break the flow of things. So, his nose looks like a potato. Because I have a physical release. I don't have Disney Plus. To be honest, I have very little interest in subscribing to them. It's just I'm just not impressed with how Disney is nowadays. It's just plus, like I said, I do own pretty much most of the classics on Blu-ray, so it just what's the point? I'm more of a physical guy than a streaming because I mean I have Netflix and Amazon Prime, but I just prefer to have physical releases of the films and shows that I like. Plus, what just happened with the watch had nothing to do with my DVD or anything. It's just that because I don't know. It's yeah. Let the guy that's mute be the one to go in to see if there's anything dangerous in the room. So I guess Dopey can scream, but he can't talk. However that works. Yeah, you only gave him a concussion. Yeah, I heard they it doesn't he like eventually talk in the remake, or they did something to Dopey in the remake that I heard was pretty absurd. But then again, that's just one of many absurd things they did with the remake. So I don't know. I guess I could do watch-alongs of the Disney remakes in the future, but that's not something I'd be looking forward to doing. Maybe if I get enough people watching this with me and talking to the chat, maybe I'll make it worth it. But because if you're gonna watch a bad movie, at least have a group of friends to suffer with you. You know what I mean? Which end do we kill? Violent little buggers, aren't they? Wow, that's very sexist, Grumpy. Who broke your heart? Which I guess that technically did happen at once upon a time. Like, I mean, I haven't seen the show in a long time, but I still remember they did something with Grumpy. Like, as he was kind of in a relationship with one of the Blue Fairies um workers, not workers. I don't know the word to use, but I remember something like that happened in the show. Well, six of us can anyway. Something else I noticed with the remake too, at least from the few clips and images I've seen, is that they don't really differentiate between the dwarves. Like they look pretty similar. Maybe there's a slight differences, but at least here you can tell them who's who. But in the remake, you just can't barely tell, except for Dopey. And I guess you can tell Doc because he's the only one with glasses. But the rest of them kind of look the same. Kind of love how sassy Snow can be. She's not just a pretty face. I mean, she can have a sense of humor. How they got away with that line, but then again, I guess back then people weren't as that minded back then. I think Doc needs a doctor himself or something. I don't know. Who do you think stutters more, Doc or Porky Pig? Can you imagine them having a stuttering off with each other? But that's the part that gets them excited that she can cook. Whatever gooseberry pie is, I guess that was a thing back in the time. I don't know. Maybe it's a French dish or whatever country this movie's supposed to take place in. So is the implication here that the dwarves never wash their hands before they eat? Like how they've not caught like salmonella or some other disease by this point? Especially given this was like what the medieval ages or something. I do find this part funny because like you have this young teenager who's scolding what are a bunch of group of old men or however old Dopey is. I don't know. Is Dopey like middle aged? Like I don't know what's going on there. Probably 16th century. Yeah, probably back in the days when you know they had banquets and people just horse food down their throats to the point where they're vomit up a lot. Ugh. Glad I wasn't around back then. I'm not sure say how bad things are nowadays, but I think we should be a little fortunate that things aren't like they were back then. What I do like here too is it shows that Snow, yeah, she is showing authority in a way, but she's still being caring and loving and not being, well, whatever Hollywood likes to perceive as being a strong woman. And, you know, if you know what I mean, it's just, well, it's water. How is water not wet? Like, again, is the implication here that these guys have never bathed? I mean, again, I guess this is a different age, but even back then, they still had to have some form of hygiene, even if it's not to today's standards. You want to run by that again, Sleepy? admittedly, this may be my least favorite song in the movie. I mean, it's not bad. It's just I don't know. I feel like it doesn't really um I don't know. I feel like it. I don't know. It just I guess it's meant to add some comedy to the film, I suppose. Which I mean, there are some funny moments. Don't get me wrong. You know that's Goofy's actor is Grumpy. Yeah, I think I've. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess I could hear it that that's Goofy's original actor as Grumpy. Yeah, I kind of feel like this wouldn't be out in the remake. But then again, how many of the songs were in the remake? I'm assuming the Hi Ho was, and I'm guessing someday My Prince Will Come is not in the remake, considering how Disney nowadays seems to be so anti-romance. At least that's what it comes off as. Grumpy, you're gonna eat those words real soon. Um, so far we're doing good. Yeah, let's drown him. I see. So only three of the original songs are in the remake. The ironic thing too is a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people say that, despite all the controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler, ironically she ends up being the best actor in the movie, or at least she seems to be one of the few people that's given it her all. Which, yeah, he just use soap to rinse his teeth. I guess with the foul mouth grumpy eyes, I guess it makes sense. Yeah, he's gonna cut you in your sleep. I was about to say, isn't like "Someday My Prince Will Come" the most iconic song from the original? And of course, they took it out. But then again, they took out "I'll Make a Man Out of You" in the Mulan remake. So I guess I should be surprised by anything nowadays. To be honest, I haven't seen most of the remakes. The most I know through them is through what other people said and through the footage I've seen. If I just say, if there's any remake that comes the closest I somewhat enjoyed, kind of, I mean, I guess there's 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close, and even then, the film's not great, but she is the best part of that movie. But in terms of the more modern remakes, if I had to pick the closest thing to the best one, at least that I've seen, it'd probably be The Jungle Book. And even then, I still wasn't that crazy about it. Cinderella was okay. I know it's not part of the Disney animation lineup, but I've heard the remake of Pete's Dragon is actually not that bad. So, but the majority of the remakes I've either found to be just mediocre or just most of them are just really awful. Like I really didn't like Being the Beast. I didn't care for Aladdin or especially The Lion King. Um, Mulan was a joke. I heard Pinocchio was really bad. Like that's the one of the few remakes that the critics and audiences can agree was awful. And I don't know, like I haven't seen the Snow White remake, and I haven't seen Lilo and Stitch, so and I've heard a lot of bad things about both those films. So the Queen performs Alchemy, I guess. Yes, Moana is next, which that's the one I don't understand because like next year will be the 10-year anniversary of the film, and they're already making a remake. Like, what? What's the point of remaking a film that's only 10 years old? Like, they say it's for nostalgia purposes. How are you nostalgic for a film that's only 10 years old? Like, the audience who grew up with that film are still probably young, so I don't know. I just wish Disney would stop with these remakes, but of course they're not going to because people won't stop paying money to go see them. And like when people went to see Mufasa, like that film was a success, while movies like Transformers One were a flop. Well, not a flop, but it just underperformed. So it's frustrating. We can't have good things, can we? And now we'll never get that sequel to Transformers One that they were hoping to give us. Yeah, this scene here. Yeah, how many kids were horrified by the scene when they were young, or how many of us were? You know, I don't think I was. Like, there's very few Disney classics that traumatized me per se. There may have been a couple, but the way they animated this scene again for 1937, this is incredible how they did this. Did anyone ever go to that? I don't know if they still have it, but the ride in Disney World or Disneyland, whatever it is in Florida, that Snow White ride they had that was like horrifying with the Queen turning to the witch. I remember that freaked me out as a kid. If y'all know what I'm talking about, that is a wild looking piano he has, or I guess it'd be an organ. I don't know. Grandma must have some really flexible cheeks if you can move the accordion seat like that. Yeah, that's how it sounded. My get. Yes, I know Robin Hood. Robin Hood reused a lot of scenes from classic Disney films. Like they reused scenes from Snow White, The Jungle Book, The Aristocats. But that movie went through kind of a rough production history itself. Like they didn't have the budget to animate original scenes. So of course we'll get to that movie sometime later in the future. But wow, Sorry, I just had to stretch my leg a little. What's your number one favorite Disney movie? Um, Mine's Aladdin. I'd say it's Fantasia. It's between that and Being the Beast and The Lion King. So it's kind of a toss between those three. Well, mostly between Fantasia and Beauty and the Beast. So, and again, we will get to those films later on down the line. So hope you're ready for that whenever we get to that. Of course, this is a pretty iconic scene where Dopey's just on top of Sneezy, just oh, hello, Alex. Stu. Nice that another person shows up. Yeah, if anyone's arriving late to this, that's okay. You can always I will have this uploaded as a video once this is over, so y'all could watch on your own time. But like I said, we will do the next Disney film on a different set of. For today, if you've seen the first video, well, not first video, you also saw the video I post on my other YouTube channel. My idea is to do after this. I plan to do the beginning of my David Lynch marathon with Eraserhead. Then after that, we'll do the first 5 episodes of season 1 of Avatar: Last Airbender, and then if I have time, hopefully I will sometime today, maybe tonight before I go to bed, to do the first episode of Chernobyl. At least that's the plan. That's the plan for today. And here we get the most iconic song of the movie. Even though it's not my favorite of the Disney love songs, it's still a cute song for what it is. And yet people want to say it's problematic, but then again, what don't they find problematic about these classic Disney films? Bashful. Just checking something. You have to give the actress credit. She's a pretty talented singer. Again, Grumpy, who broke your heart? It's sad this is the only film her voice actress did. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Because he seemed pretty talented, so. Yeah, Dobby's actually smart here. Just take the bed before everyone else does, or pillow, only for them to fight over it momentarily. I guess they didn't have sleeping bags back then. Yeah, that's gonna do much for you, Dopey. That's something you won't see in a modern Disney film. Seeing a character pray, like I know that sounds like a weird thing to point out, but yeah, it's just something interesting. I thought it would be pointed out. I don't know. Well, at least Grumpy will be nice and toasty where he's sleeping. And this is where Doc drowns. I guess Dopey's butt is that comfortable. Now one does have to wonder: did the dwarves build their own cottage, or was it someone else's? They decided to take it in when the previous owner passed on, or something? The animators did do a good job animating her old hag form to look as hideous as possible. They definitely do end up making the apple look juicy. I'll give it that. Yeah, that's the thing I do notice is that Snow is probably the most well between her and the prince have a more realistic design, whereas the queen slash hag and the dwarves have more cartoonish design. But I guess that was a common thing for not just Disney, but a lot of old animated films and shorts. Like the other day, not that long ago, I watched the Don Fleischer's Gulliver's Travels from 1939, where Gulliver and the prince and princess in that movie have a more realistic taste. Gabby and the extras all are more cartoonish. So you have to admit that is a very horrifying thought. Like that your loved ones think you're dead when actually you're just in a deep sleep and you're buried alive. I like to say her raven is Diablo, but younger. After her death, he left and became Maleficent's one. Maybe. I guess it's a thing for villains to have ravens or other corvids as their little lackeys or pets or whatever. I guess because that crows and other members of that family tend to be associated with death. So if it's not them, then it's vultures. Which is kind of ironic when you consider vultures in real life try to help end up helping preventing death and not being causes of it. Yeah, after this stream is over, I'm gonna have to take a break and walk around. My knees are starting to hurt from sitting Indian style like this for over an hour. We'll probably take a few moments break before we start the next watch along. Oh, don't deny Grumpy. You wanted to. Then again, what I know, I've never been kissed by a girl, so what would I know? Yeah, back then, obviously, they had a limit on how long they can make these movies, which probably explains why Fantasia, Fantasia being a 2 hour long movie was so expensive to make. Dobie, you sly dog, you. Yep, see, he likes it. He just won't admit it. Even though it's a little strange, which again isn't Snow meant to be like a teenager or something, and you guys are a bunch of grown men. So I mean, I know that wasn't, you know, of course, that's just a lot of modern audiences taking something that's meant to be wholesome, sweet, and perverted in such a way. It's the way things are nowadays, unfortunately. Speaking of vultures, those are some really big vultures or something compared to her. I mean, I know some vultures can be huge, some vultures and condors, but you know, they're not the Jungle Book type. Okay. She seems like a friendly person. Nothing suspicious here. What the heck is gooseberry? That's what I've always wondered. Is that an actual berry that's just has goose in the title? Like, at least her animal friends can sense something's off. But then again, I guess it's the thing that animals, at least when when your dog or someone can bark at someone that they don't seem to trust. I guess it's an animal instinct. They can sense when someone is untrustworthy. Mm. Well, I mean, obviously they're berries on plants. It's just I just the title. It's I don't hear about gooseberries nowadays, but I don't know. Maybe it's a regional thing. Who knows? And off they go to get the dwarves. What? They're already gone home? Like it's still. Well, okay. I guess it's who knows how many hours have passed between this and. You know, I mean, they're clearly trying to tell you guys something. Granny, that sounds like a whole bunch of hogwash. At least a sane person would probably say that, but Snow is, I guess, someone who's very optimistic about everything. So yeah, time's crazy because after she kills her, then it's night. Yeah, I'm guessing that means an amount of time did pass between them leaving and then cutting to the animals going to the dwarves. I don't know. Again, the poor turtle. To the point that I want to put her heart inside a little ch- chest. Mm. What was she gonna do with the heart when she did get it? That's what I want to maybe use it for some of her potions. Mm. She's getting way too into this. All this just to be the most beautiful person in your entire kingdom. They immediately know it's her, despite she's in a disguise. Like, honestly, she's doing pretty good as an old woman, just climbing up the rocks. There they go, about to beat an old woman up. I mean, you gotta love that about these class Disney films. The heroes are not afraid to get violent. And we get the first Disney villain death scene. Yeah, if that fall didn't kill her, then that rock will. Yeah, specifically the first falling death, as that's a very common trope in Disney villains. I guess because you don't need to show the outcome. You know what's kind of ironic though is that the very first Disney villain death, and it's not done by any of the heroes. It's just God's wrath, I guess. And of course, we get this scene. I mean, obviously, we as the audience know that Snow isn't dead, but from the Dwarves' perspective, they don't know, and that just makes the scene more heartbreaking for them. Even Happy isn't happy. And then Grumpy starts to cry, which is, yeah, Zeus did it. Honestly, it's Grumpy crying that makes this scene the most heart wrenching because he's been so mean to Snow and he's filled with regret. It's just. So beautiful, even in death, that the dwarves could not find it in their hearts to bury her. Yeah, I guess the queen never took that into account. Yeah, I heard the queen does die in the remake. Doesn't she like smash the mirror and then get sucked into it or something? Which is like lame. They fashioned a coffin of glass and gold and kept eternal vigil at her side. The prince, who had searched far and wide, heard of the maiden who slept in the glass coffin. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they thought her death in the original was too violent. It's like, come on. Yeah, that's what I heard. Like I said, I didn't see the film, but I've seen plenty of people review the film. Like I think it was MJ Tanner, I think is her name. I saw her review of the film, and there were a couple other people I've seen the reviews of, and that's what they said. And that's a beautiful shot right there. And of course, this scene that a lot of people make a fuss over. I mean, yeah, he kissed her. It's the. I mean, okay. Here's the thing. Obviously, him and the dwarves don't know about the curse. They think she's dead to die differently in the remakes. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I guess people don't know the concept of how some people will kiss their lover before they're buried. It's just, it's a way to part ways. I don't know. People just have to take something so wholesome and ruin it, you know? They're all so happy. Even Grumpy is happy. Yeah, I've heard of that conspiracy theory that this upcoming shot of Snow and the prince going off to the castle, and a lot of people perceive it as, oh, Snow died and they're just going off to heaven. Really, I don't think that's it. I think it's just a beautiful castle, or maybe it's a sign that now the queen is dead. The castle is brought back to its, the kingdom is now bright and beautiful now that that toxic, ruling is defeated, or however you want to word it. And they lived happily ever after. A Walt Disney Pictures production in Technicolor too. Okay, and that was Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. And yes, after all these years, it's still a classic. I mean, it may not be one of my personal favorite of the Disney animated classics. I wouldn't say it's in my top 10, more like top 15, maybe I'd say. It's still a great film, and what it did for the time, like it did what people thought was impossible. Like no one thought it was possible for a feature-length film to be hand-drawn animated to be a success, and apparently it was a huge hit when it got released. So, oh yeah, let me turn this off. Um, but yeah, I guess if I had any issues, I will admit there are parts of the film I felt the animation could have used a little more polishing, but I'm not going to hold it against it because it was the first of its type, and I think they would improve on the animation a little in Pinocchio. So, yeah, what can I say? Still a classic. It's still a film that's beloved to this very day, at least to people who are Disney fans like myself. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the idea. I hope you all enjoy this. And by y'all, I mean, I guess only Anthony Kelly was the only one to show up for this. Um, but yeah, this is kind of the idea of what this series will be, where I just watch stuff and you guys chat and come in and chat with me. Hopefully, we'll get more people in the future. Hopefully, this channel will grow. I will be starting another watch along in a little bit. It's 12:32. I think I'll try to start the next one in. I'm going to take a half-hour break just to walk around and get the next watch along set up. So I'll begin that soon. Um, as a whole, great movie. I think I give it, for me, it's a 9 out of 10. I know that may be a little high, but it's what the film did for the meaning of animation, and we probably wouldn't have a lot of. Disney would not be the same, and animation in general may not be the same if it wasn't for this film. And yet, some people nowadays don't seem to understand that. So, yeah. Again, I hope y'all enjoy this watch along. I'll begin the next one in about maybe 30 minutes again, because I want to try to get a few out as possible. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna see if I might have to trim the beginning of this a bit. Um, so yeah, hope y'all enjoy this. I will see y'all in the next watch along. So.